I'm a professional athlete. I've been playing in Europe for a good while now. I never really told a story about getting back. Like for us, I was playing in the ABA League, which is the Adriatic League, with teams like Red Star and just a bunch of like top level teams all throughout Europe and EuroLeague teams. So we had literally one game left in our season. I think the second Monday of March, I think, was our last game of the season. And they just started like getting really hit in the Adriatic area because they kind of avoided it for a while. And then cases just started popping up. And by Thursday, they're saying, might going to suspend, and then by next week it ended up being like basically the whole month suspended indefinitely. And it sucked because we just had that one game left, and then we had playoffs, and like we were gonna be right there into it, and nobody knew what was going on. That was crazy. Like literally nobody knew what was going on. Everybody just kind of waiting day by day and hour by hour to see what's going to happen. And every sports league was basically just suspended, hopefully seeing if they can come back anytime soon. And technically my league is still suspended, so like it's still not canceled. And now they're talking about like July return for playoffs. It's just a whole bunch of like crazy. Like normally your season's done by May. I definitely would have been done by about almost now, if depending on how playoffs went. And so I was stuck in Montenegro, the very last country to get a case of the coronavirus, so at least a confirmed case of the coronavirus. So it wasn't too bad for me out there because I was in a little small beach town. It was pretty isolated. It wasn't like a ton of visitors, in and out, so there wasn't too much exposure. But it started getting the capital a little bit, and it's a small country, so it's good and bad. It's good that we were the last ones to get it, but it's also bad because when it does happen, things go low in lockdown pretty quickly, and went from pretty chill to just curfews and everything's on lockdown, borders on lockdown, airports closed. And, and you getting the word from back home, people telling, the government saying, hey, any Americans abroad need to or should come home, as soon as they can, or risk being stuck indefinitely, basically. And, and it's not because of them, it's more because, whatever country has their own, obviously, rules and laws, and if it goes on lockdown, it goes on lockdown. So Booze was like scrambling. I actually wasn't tripping that much because I'm going to be working regardless what I do. But it was just like, all right, like when the first opportunity comes, I'm going to take it, to go home. So I remember one guy from the other team in our country, which plays EuroLeague. He took the chance. He went through the border at, I want to say, Albania. Albania was still having some flights out. You get to other countries and that have more international airports, because while there is an airport in our country, it's not an international one. You have to go somewhere else before to even really go anywhere. And so if you can't even go somewhere else before, like, you're having a hard time. So he got to the border. The flight got canceled that night. He ended up spending the night there, caught on the next one, some morning to Turkey, and then Turkey went home. So, I kind of been through situations like this before, being a military kid and living all over the world, but a lot of my teammates have not. So people were stressing, trying to get home, and it got like, I think after that, there's like a whole other week wait. We called the embassy trying to see what they can do, get us out and all this stuff. And I think Sunday night, one of our teammates, he tried setting up a private plane. I'm like, God, no names. We tried setting up a private plane for us to take to just to fly to Turkey, to get from Turkey to the US. And they're talking about it, and I'm thinking about it, but at the same time, it's a private plane, and those are like around 50,000 just to fly for 1 hour to Istanbul. And I'm like, man, like, and it was a bit sketchy too. We're talking about like over too much weight because people and kids and bags. And I was like, bro, I'm not getting on no small private plane if it's even getting close to overweight. So I wasn't with it. So it ended up falling through. People were still upset, but I'm like, I need to at least see what the embassy going to be talking about. This is Sunday, and they said we're going to let you know after the weekend. So Monday's the next day. I just had a feeling. And you know, I was like, I'm gonna call him tomorrow morning, see what it is. And I ended up getting up a little bit later. But one of my teammates ended up calling them like maybe 30 minutes before I was gonna call them, an hour before I called them. I was gonna call them. And they ended up telling them like, hey, yeah, there's a flight today that's leaving at 2. And this is probably like, and he texted the group. So got the group probably around 11:30 text saying, hey, there's a flight at 2 if you can make it. It's leaving to Paris. So, and I'm just getting up at 11:30, like reading this shit. So I'm like, all right, I didn't ask no question, like bet. Gotta start throwing the rest of my shit in my bags. Like I was already kind of packed, but wasn't fully packed. So I started throwing, like doing the one arm sweep, like just taking shit off tables, just throwing that shit in the bags. And I'm calling the embassy at the same time, like, trying to make sure there's a flight, like what's good. They're like, yeah, there's a flight at 2. We're still trying to see if you can get cleared by the French embassy to, even take that flight and get into France, basically, because Paris at this time is on complete fucking lockdown. So I'm like, all right, well, let me know whatever. I'm packing anyways. And, it's about an hour drive to the airport. So they're like, hey, you need to be there by 1 type shit. So I'm like, it's 11:30. So I'm just throwing everything in bags and, texting the group. Everybody's, asking questions in the group. I'm not asking no questions. I'm like, yo, I'm out. Like, I'm going to be leaving in like 15, 20 minutes, yo. Like, I'm like, yo, if anybody needs a ride, I'm out. And like, dudes, they're still a little shaky, not sure if they're going to take it. And the first guy, Lance Harris, from St. Louis, shout out to him because he's the one who made the call and put it in the group at first. So he's like, yo, I'm leaving too. Like, hey, let me ride with you. So he hopped in with me and just fucking booked it all the way there to, to the airport, got there in about 45 minutes, parked, got on. And that shit was like a movie, man. Like,
wow.
Literally left, got packed up and left in like 20 minutes, got out of there, drove there, got there around like 1:05. You could have got there a little later, honestly, but they just wanted to make sure that you got there. And, and this shit's on lockdown because the only flights coming out of Podgorica is the capital. The only flights coming out of there are basically approved flights or flights to go pick up their people from around, Europe to bring them home. So we had to get on a list to get on the flight. And there's just a couple other, like, I think people from France and, some other nationals and stuff like that. And you get on, all the flight attendants is on full, like, hazmat suits. Like, I'm talking, like, full yellow suits, like, full mask, full gloves, like, everything. Like, goggles, like, everything on the flight. Like, it's like some movie shit, bro. And it's maybe 10 people on there. So you take that, got to Paris. So I'm thinking, like, all right, cool. I'm going to get my bags. We're going to stay the night and we're going to try to catch a flight tomorrow. Because by the time there's for sure no flights leaving that day. Because Paris is on fucking lockdown. And even, like, Air France is only doing 1 flight a day from Paris to, to the US, to LA, basically. And we get there and we go to customs and the dude looks at us. He's like, no, you can't come in. Like, you can't come through here. And we're looking like, yo, what the fuck you talking about? Like, yo, what? My bags are right there. Like, nah. He's like, no, if you're not national, nobody can step foot in the country. Like, so, and we're like, man, like, so we're calling the embassy and the embassy basically telling us like, yeah, you're going to have to just go transfer it, go to the transfer area and wait, so, and we need to have them, and then we try to go transfer area, and then they're like, nah, you can't come through if you don't got a ticket. So literally had to call the team, tell them to book a flight right there. Like, even if we were going to make that flight, book that flight just so we can pass through to the transfer area. So we got through and so our bags are literally just sitting there because we can't, because it's self-transfer, because it's not a connected flight, because we literally left like 20 minutes. So we didn't even know what flights are out there or what. We just knew we had to get there. We're going to get home. So our bags are just sitting there. And they're like, oh, you're going to have to make a claim when you get to the States and all this, da-da-da. So we go through there. And the whole transfer area is like, all the international transfer area is just full because everybody's been stuck there. Like, people been stuck there 2-3 days because flights been getting canceled. So I'm like, man, this shit is, and there's every restaurant, when I say like every restaurant is closed, every store is closed, like nothing in the whole entire airport is open. I don't know if people have been to the Paris International Airport. It's like a big ass airport and everything's closed. And there's maybe like 20 people working. And like, we're looking around like, damn, like we ain't eating at all that day. So like we looking around, like, so we had to end up paying somebody like work for Air France to go outside to this one little like convenience store that was open in the airport to buy us like a bunch of like those little, you know, refrigerator sandwiches basically, and some chips and some water or whatever, and bring it back for us for that night. Like, you know, and all the couches was full, all the lounge areas full. So like we ended up having to sleep on the floor, like in the airport, like it was like one of the worst sleeps probably ever have. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody's just on the floor, just trying to just wait it out. End up getting up the next day, and I ended up booking like 3 flights because they had been canceling flights literally like all day. Like every flight is almost getting canceled. So I ended up booking like 3 different flights just to make sure I can get back. And I ended up getting on one from there the next day at 1 p.m. the next day. So I'm there from 3 that previous day to like basically 1 p.m. that next day. Just sleep in the airport and shit, and like same clothes, just your backpack type shit. Like, so I ended up getting on that flight, came to the States. We went through Canada, and then went to Canada, Chicago, Phoenix, and then, man, it's still, I only got one of my bags still waiting out of it. So
you're still waiting on a bag.
Yeah, and that's been like, that shit was like some movie type shit, just getting out of the country.
You'll never forget that. But at the same time, now you'll never complain about traveling because it will never be as bad as that.
I mean, we took it in stride. Like we were pretty good about it. Like honestly, like just I'm used. Like I said, it's not my first time doing some shit like this. Like I've had to be evacuated by military planes and shit like that before. So like it's not like I've never experienced something like this. Just like at this scale, like with like regular airports and cities on complete lockdown. Like literally can't step foot into Paris. Like through customs. Like it was just some crazy shit. It was just like everything was getting thrown at you, and you just see everybody just like, and just not knowing what the fuck is going on, like not knowing if you're gonna get out of the airport. Like some people, they said, been waiting there like 2-3 days. Like I'm saying, like stuck there, and there's no food. Like there's no restaurants, there's no stores. Like hotels closed. Like no, like it was just, man, it was rough. It was definitely. That
must have been very like surreal.
Oh, it was unreal. Stuff. Like I was just like, man, this is like some movie shit. Like, and I'm going through my gate, and like you're going through the whole terminal, and like you literally see nothing. You see nobody. You see nothing in the whole terminal, and like a big ass terminal. You just walk through,
and
like
that place is usually a zoo.
yeah.